Hey you guys, and welcome to the preview round 5 versus GWS. I wanted to do it parked, but I've been so busy that I just feel like I have to fill it in and I have to do it now, otherwise I won't get it done. It's been a super busy week for me, so usually I would film it, edit it, but haven't had time this week, so I thought I'd do it in the car. There's a heap of traffic anyway. And so I thought a good opportunity to have a chat with you guys and talk about the ins. So Mav Waller comes back after he's been out for God knows how long. It's been a long time coming, but Richo's made him earn his spot from the VFL. He's had a few good performances there. He gets 3 or 4 goals every week. No complaints there. Hunter Clark is back, which is what we all wanted. We want to see the young kids play. We want to see him play. He's one of the classier of our youngsters, and it doesn't matter who we're playing. We need to get games into these sort of guys. Caulfield's kind of locked himself in the best 22, and I feel like Hunter Clark can obviously do the next thing and cement his spot. And the big one, Tim Membry, he's back. So we have a forward line consisting of McCartan and Membry now, which I think is a very good time for Membry to come back, because Marshall, as we all know, unfortunately injured himself and got a minor concussion, I think, against Geelong. And it kind of stunted McCartan in a way that he had to come up the ground, because that's what Marshall was doing, and when there's no Marshall, McCartan had to come up the ground. But now that Membry's back, Membry can do that roaming role, with McCartan staying deep and staying in the goal square, and I think that's our best way of attack, is to have McCartan in the goal square, have some crummers around him, and obviously Membry as that lead up forward. Now that brings me to my next point, is I said last week that our kicking out of defence is really shit, and I mean that, and I'm sure we'll see parts of it tomorrow where we're thinking, what the hell are they doing? Why are they kicking it there? But having Membry there, and we haven't had him for a good 2 or 3 weeks, having Membry there is going to change that, I think. Having him in good positions, having a capable mark. We're not bombing it to Jack Loney on, a 6'5" defender. We're bombing it to a Membry who's a very good overhead mark. For a guy that's usually a bit shorter than the defender he's on, he times his marks perfectly. He doesn't use body. If you watch him closely, he never uses body. He's always timing. He's watching the ball, and then he leaps at the exact time that he knows he can grab it at its peak, and it works perfectly. Going into the game last week wasn't shambolic, but it wasn't great. This week, we're playing probably the best team in the land in GWS. They're top of the ladder. They're 3 wins and 1. They beat Freo by 31 points last week. They've kind of cruised, I guess. They don't look like they're great. They had a big win against Bulldogs in round 1, but apart from that, they've kind of cruised. And Freo 31 points. I mean, most teams would probably want to beat Freo by 31 points, apart from the Carltons and the Gold Coasts. So it's hard to judge, but they've got a very good team. And the one thing that I really am thinking about is, I heard all week that we were doing match simulation, we were practicing our kicking and our goal kicking, and that was the big focus for the week, was not just training little drills, but it was actually getting into full match simulation, which I know a lot of teams don't do during the season because of the risk of injury, but we risked that in order to get ourselves back in form, which I like. I like Richo taking some risk to get us at peak level of competition come the weekend. In terms of game plan going into this game, GWS are a very, very good running team. They're very fast. They use the ball by hand more than any other team in the competition. So if we're looking at any sort of example of how to stop them from doing that, I really hope Richo showed the last season's win against them. Watched highlights of that, just how we out-tackled them, how we outworked them. They've got more skill than any team in the competition, but I think the one way you can get them is here. They always get ahead of themselves. They always come into games like this thinking that well, we're clearly the better team. We're the better team. We're the younger team. We've got all the expectation, but we can match it because we're much better than everyone else. They've got like 7 or 8 number 1 picks playing. They've got the likes of Cameron, Toby Green, Kelly, you name it. Like Shields, who's a player that we're looking at getting next season. They've got, across every line, they've got an A-grader. Whereas, there's journalists critiquing us saying that where are the A-graders for the Saints, whereas they've got more A-graders in their midfield than we have in our entire team. That's what people say. But I think the way we beat them last season was we outworked them. We wanted the ball more. We weren't necessarily more skillful than them. I mean, there were patches in that game where you're like, how do they do that? How do they make it look so clean from one end to the other, kick a goal, and they make it look like it's a training drill? And they do this not only, to the lesser teams, they do it to the best teams. So we're going to have to really be switched on in terms of our contest. And I think that's something that we've lacked all season, is winning the number 1 contest, getting to the ball first. But I mean, if you're thinking that you're going to just cruise and maybe pull a win out of the bag against GWS, that's not going to happen. I'm a bit disappointed that Logan Austin didn't get a game. Also, Josh Battle didn't get a game. But I feel like with Membry coming in, that's probably why he didn't get the game. There's no doubt that if Membry didn't come in, Battle would definitely have gotten a game. We need that extra tall just to balance it with Membry, with McCartan there. Very surprised that Nunes got another game. I'm not sure what you guys think, but Jack Nunes has probably had his worst month of football for the last probably 3 or 4 years that I've seen him play. And he's one of those players that Richo hasn't dropped really, or looked like dropping at all, ever. And that's where I thought last week we'd make a statement. We'd drop someone like a Jack Nunes, but obviously we went for a Loney and then two injuries, which a lot of you guys thought, well, that's kind of a soft approach, Richo. Why aren't you dropping some bigger names when we've been so shit lately? But he's dropped, obviously, 2 forced drops, which is Robertson and Marshall. They're injuries, so they're not out. That's just automatic. But the only out he had was Jack Loney, which I think is 100% right. Jack Loney had a shocking game last week, albeit in really average conditions for a small forward. And how can you drop... This is the one thing with Richo that I don't get is... he blames our delivery to our forward line. That's why we're not playing well. It's our delivery to our forward line. But then he drops forwards. He drops Loney, who, I mean, as a small forward against Geelong, when you're bombing it, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you're bombing it into the forward line. Then their delivery, that is what helps them play well. So when your delivery's on, even the shit forwards will look good if your delivery's good. But when your delivery's bad, the Tony Lockett's and the Dunstals and even the Lance Franklins will look like they don't know how to play football. But then he drops a forward. You should be dropping people that are kicking it to them. You should be dropping the people that are just constantly bombing it. They're not lowering the eyes, He drops Luke Dunstan for not getting the hard ball, but then he brings him in and he's been killing it. Maybe we should be dropping more, maybe not the Seb Ross, but Sinclair. I don't know how he cruised and had such an average game last week, and then he gets another week. I'm a big fan of pretty much every player that we have on our list, obviously, because I'm a Saints fan. But there's times where you see them and they're not giving a shit, like Jack Nunes last week, and you think, mate, it's obvious that you're just not switched on right now. Maybe you need to go back into Sandringham. Maybe it's worth you just having another run around in the seconds just to show that, do you really care about being in the first team? But he didn't make the statement, and he hasn't really made any statements in terms of inclusion or outs all season, despite our results. But maybe this week, it's a big call, but maybe back at Etihad, I'm really hoping that we get a decent crowd. They can turn it on. In terms of midfield, we're probably going to go with the same style. I wouldn't mind seeing Akers actually boss it there. You read so many comments of, how great Cripps has been in the middle. It's like having a Cripps or a Fife, but not playing him in his best position, which I think is dead in the middle. We need someone that can just get the ball. He's not the greatest disposal, even though I think he's probably efficiency-wise in the 80s or 90s this season, which is very high. But you need someone like an Akers that can just get the ball, that can just get out of the middle. We have too many in and unders. Akers likes to get it and go. He can get the hard ball, but I think we just need to mix it up. We need to put a Gresham in there. We isolate Billings in the half forward flank, and he doesn't get the ball there, and then we say he has a shit game. Whereas in fact, we could just put him closer to the ball and see what he's capable of. So I feel like if the game does get out of our grasp tomorrow, and I really hope it doesn't, I want to be seeing some of these changes. I don't want Richo to just sit on the exact same game plan, the exact same positioning and matchups as every other week, and then just, send his members video and then just say, oh, it was disappointing. Because I feel like all of us are frustrated at getting that and seeing no change. If you're that frustrated, Richo, make a damn change. Like, isn't that that's what it's all about, is if it's not working, try and fix it to make it work. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Are you guys going to the game? Are you optimistic about our chances against one of the best teams in the league? For some stupid reason, and I said this leading into the Adelaide game, and I said this leading into the Geelong game, that I've got an inkling that we could turn it on, that something decent's going to happen. But, and I say it again, but obviously that didn't happen. But for some reason, back at home, I feel like GWS are one of those mentally fragile teams that could easily let these games slip. They weren't great against Fremantle up until the last quarter. We haven't had a good quarter all season, so I can't really say too much. But if we go back to the basics of just saying pressure football, like who was that? Someone said in the comments, and just play the game. I'd love Richo to just say, okay, for this half, just even for the first quarter, guys, play on instinct, play on what you think feels right. Yeah, like, don't overcomplicate it, because I feel like Richo's that sort of coach where he needs to understand that if you give a team too much structure, to be in too much control, it's going to stunt the flair of the team. And that's one thing that a lot of you guys have said, is that we don't have a lot of flair. I think last season when we beat GWS, we beat Richmond, it looked like we just ran in numbers. We just played football because we loved playing football, not because Richo's a genius coach. We just outplayed them. We wanted the ball more. We wanted to kick more goals. It's as simple as that. Football is a damn simple game. And I say that when I play indoor soccer on Mondays and Wednesdays, I play way too often lately. But when I play, and we have halves where we're trying to pass it, we're trying to be too clever, and we don't take shots. And I always say the keeper isn't good. Take shots. And then we take shots, and lo and behold, we're 4-0 up and we win the game. That's how I want us to approach tomorrow, is to just go for it. Don't fear the opposition. Lately, we look like we give too much respect to the opposition. We let them dictate the game, and all we're doing is reacting to, okay, let's see what they do, and then, we'll come up with a game plan to stop them. Fuck that. Sorry for swearing, but F that. Let's make them chase us for once, and let's test them and test their coach. Let's play our game. Let's play fast Saints football. When I think Saints football, I don't think high pressure. I think that we're just going to run in numbers, and we are going to outwork them to the footy. Not that our pressure's any higher or lower than any other team, but I feel like that when I imagine us at our best, we are just playing freaking fast football. Watch the Richmond game, and they had no chance to breathe. They couldn't stop chasing us. We didn't give them a chance to take a breather. That's what I want tomorrow. So I'm on a bit of a rant, but I am excited about going to the game. I'm going to be there, so if any of you guys are there, say hi. I'd probably tip GWS anyway if I was doing footy tipping, but for some stupid reason, with Membry back, with Mav Weller back, I think he can add a bit more than Loney in terms of pressure and in terms of goal kicking and goal pressure. He's also going to be hungry, guys. He's been out all season. He's been in the seconds. We've dropped him numerous times in the last couple of seasons. There's no way he's going to come in against the top team in the league at the moment and not give 150% and try to smash some players. That's another thing, is having that menace. Don't look like you're a bunch of kids out there, guys. Go out there and hit them, hurt them. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is I just want us to go out there and play. And I feel like you can talk about tactics as much as you want, But that's to the coaches. That's to what they think is best in winning. But when it comes down to the players, it's execution and it's effort, and that's all that's what we haven't had this season. It's execution, and we sure as hell haven't looked like we've given any sort of effort. So that's what I want from the guys, and that's what I want from the fans. I want us to actually go there, rock up. We want to get more than, if I go there and there's 10,000 people. We got 19 against Adelaide. And that was before the bad game last week, and we probably had more of a chance winning then than playing GWS. But I really hope I don't go there and see a very empty Etihad. We want to support the guys. How can they get up and about for a game when their fans don't? You know what I mean? So we have to rock up and support them no matter what. And I'll be there. I'll be playing footy in the morning, and then I'll be driving over to Etihad. And the good thing is I'll be driving over, so when the game finishes, I'll be able to do a live review of the game straight after it, and I hope you guys tune in for that. But I'll leave you guys. It's nearly time for the other game tonight. What is it? Sydney Adelaide. I hope you guys enjoy watching that. I'd probably tip Sydney, but hopefully it's a good game. I'll end up watching it now. But I'll sign off on that, guys. I'm pretty quietly confident that maybe we won't get the chocolates, but that the guys are going to be switched on, and we might see a half decent performance for once. But it's going to be tough, no doubt about it. But if you have any comments on the video on what you're looking forward to into the game and how you think the game's going to pan out, please comment in this video. It's a live feed, but it'll be posted as a normal video after that. And I'll respond to all your comments when I stop driving. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.